Hi, everyone. I thought I would do something a little different. I like changing it up on both of my channels. And this time, I wanted to talk about my 10 favorite TV comedy characters or comedians on TV, whatever you want to call them. And when I was putting this list together, there were sometimes, a character from a certain TV show that I love, and I could not just pick one of the characters. Sometimes there's like five or six or seven of the characters, but most of them are just one person. And I would love, your thoughts on who are some of your favorite TV characters. And I also wanted to say that overall, I'm not really a big fan of situation comedies, at least after like the 70s. For instance, Seinfeld, when it was big on TV, I never watched it. I guess I was a bit of a snob. uh, but absolutely, anytime I've seen, an episode of Seinfeld or a clip from Seinfeld, it is funny. So, and I have seen a few of the episodes now, and they're definitely very funny. I love Lucy. I don't have her in the list, Lucille Ball, but of course she's one of the greats. I just never grew up really watching I Love Lucy. It was before my time. Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's another show that a lot of people have said, "Oh, you haven't seen that? You got to watch that." Uh, and I think I can watch it. I've got all these different streaming services, but I've just never gotten around to it. But from the small clips I've seen, I think I would really enjoy it, of course. And after I put the list together, of course, you realize, oh, I forgot that and I forgot that. Monty Python, though, I kind of, I enjoyed the TV show. I remember seeing it in the early 70s. It was shown here in Canada, and I think it was PBS in the States, but we would get that too here in Canada. But it's the three movies that I really, really love from Monty Python. And then there's other shows that were really popular, like Friends, that I just, no interest in. So here we go. And like I said, I would love your thoughts on who you like and who you don't like. And number 10 would be Maxwell Smart from Get Smart, Don Adams. The show was funny. I remember watching it in the 60s and really getting a kick out of it. I think my favorite was the cone of silence. That they couldn't hear each other. uh, and it wouldn't matter, I think they did that quite a few times, and every time it was funny. They would change it up a little bit, but every time it would still be so funny. So Maxwell Smart at number 10. Of course, with Saturday Night Live, the season that Martin Short was on with Christopher Guest. I love those two. But, and then the early seasons of Saturday Night Live. But Eddie Murphy, he was like the superstar of Saturday Night Live. And him doing Buckwheat and James Brown and uh, It's a Lovely Day in the Neighborhood. Just every clip. I usually didn't watch the show, but I would always end up seeing all of the or most of the clips that Eddie Murphy was in, and they were always hilarious. So Eddie Murphy at number 9. And then, like I said, the earlier shows like with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, they were great too. Number 8, Herman Munster. I also love the Addams Family, but I think between those two shows, I think I liked Herman Munster the best. Great character, by Fred Gwynne. And I guess, reading up about it, the makeup and everything he had to wear, it was really heavy, and it caused him a lot of pain at the time, and of course later in life, which is kind of sad, but just such a great character. Now, let me get a hit. So that was 1, no, 10, 9, 8. So number 7. What's number 7? Yeah, Eddie Haskell. Now, if I was on my main channel, I'd be ducking right now because that's one of the jokes I always do. Maybe you didn't hear the siren though, because I'm using my good microphone that kind of kills the noise. Yeah, Eddie Haskell. I had his name. Just give me 1 second here. Give props to the actual actor. I don't have it here. But yeah, he was so. In the 60s, I watched it, as a kid, and Eddie Haskell was my favorite because I think everybody has that kind of, maybe not a friend, but somebody that in your life that is always like sucking up to a boss or your parents or whatever. And of course, he was, not the nicest kid, but when he was in front of Beaver's parents, he was so polite and sweet. Number 6, Archie Bunker, Carol O'Connor. So yeah, when that came out in the early 70s, I was a big fan right away. I loved it. The only thing is, I would say after a few seasons, it got, especially when he adopted that girl. Even before that, I think though. But after the first 2 or 3 seasons, it got kind of too Swedish, too sentimental or something. It wasn't the same. Archie Bunker got a little nicer, I guess, a little sweeter is what I was trying to say. And so I lost interest in them. Same with shows like Happy Days. A lot of the earlier seasons are my favorite, and then it would get a bit too commercial, and like how they pushed Fonzie, when in the first couple of seasons, Fonzie was just one of the cast of characters, right? Number 5, yeah. At first, I was gonna just pick Steve Carell as Michael Scott, but then there's Dwight Schrute, there's uh, the guy that drops the chili. I see. There's so many names, but the whole cast is amazing, and Pamela, of course. Uh, so when The Office was on TV, once again, I was a snob. It was so popular, and I never bothered watching it. And so when I got Netflix a few years back, one day I siren again, busy day. So when I got Netflix, I would say 6 or 7 years ago, one day I said, "Oh, I'll watch The Office." So I started at, season 1, first episode. And I'm not sure if I guess I did like it enough to keep watching it, but I ended up watching every season. And I remember, I think seasons 3 and 4 were my favorites. And then definitely by the time that Michael Scott wasn't in the show anymore, I stopped watching. I know some people said it was still good or not too bad, but no thanks. So I gave up on it. Number 4, yeah. Every time I see Frank Burns for MASH, Larry Linville, uh, yeah, once again, it was the early seasons of MASH that I loved, and then it got less funny for me, and especially when Frank Burns left. Uh, but it wasn't just him that was good in the show, but he was my favorite, and he was just thinking of the episodes. I haven't seen them in a while, but like I said, just thinking of his character makes me laugh. He was pretty funny. Number three. Now, this is a show that to this day isn't, I don't think it's that well known. And it's not on DVD or Blu-ray, as far as I know. It followed the show Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman, from what I remember, which was a very popular show. And this was called Fernwood Tonight. Martin Mull was Barth Gimple, the TV, kind of like a Johnny Carson guy. And then Happy Kine and the Mirth Makers. Happy Kine was the band leader. He's on the left. And then Jerry Hubbard, who is, of course, I'm going to forget his name now, but you know who that is on the right. Let me look. Jerry Hubbard. Yeah, Fred Willard. Yeah, I love Fred Willard in the Waiting for Guffman, those movies with Christopher Guest. But this show was so over the top crazy and hilarious. And so I had to choose. I think my favorite was Fred Willard. But I mean, Happy Kine was hilarious, and Martin Mull was great too. Who do you think is number one? No, it's not me. I was thinking of choosing me, but I haven't been on television. Number two is, yeah, SCTV, Second City TV, the television show that started in Canada, I think out west, and then it moved to Toronto. I think they started in Edmonton, Alberta, I believe. John Candy, I mean the whole cast. Some of them would come and go, but Catherine O'Hara, uh, Eugene Levy, the whole cast. Definitely my favorite, well, or my second favorite TV show of all time. No, maybe my favorite TV show of all time. It's just that there's one character that I think is number one, or is number one for me. But all of these characters are great. And I just remember watching a lot of those shows in the set, and I still watch them today on like YouTube too. But number one for me, I feel, is the greatest comedy character on television. And most of you would know him. It is Don Knotts from the Andy Griffith Show. And Barney Fife, see, it's when I know I'm on camera, right? Usually I remember the name, but I feel like, oh, I gotta know that name, and then I forget it. Yeah, Barney Fife. Uh, he, and then his movies are pretty good too. Haven't watched too many of those, but he'd be the same as Barney Fife, the nervous kind of character, but the whole cast too, right? When Jim Neighbors was on the show, and then later on he was in Gomer Pyle. He was great. Uh, Andy Griffith, of course, being kind of the straight person, he was a great straight person. Uh, yeah, but for me, he was the funniest and the greatest uh, TV character of them all. And so I would love your thoughts on the maybe there's some that you don't know, like if let me know if you remember Fernwood Tonight. And later on, after the first season or two, They changed the name to America Tonight. And it was still great. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Remember to leave a comment below and a thumbs up. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.